Just because you are an artist doesn't mean you have to starve to market your work. This is the second in our creative series. I'm Tim Ryan, the webinar coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County, and I'll be your host. Our presenter today is Randye Spina. More on Randye in just a minute. First, I have to say that this presentation was set up months ago to be a live workshop held at the Wilton Library. And I think we have Michael Bellicosa from the library here. Michael, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Yes, Michael Bellicosa. I'm Community Engagement Manager here at the library. Welcome to today's program. Last week was great. We've got 2 more coming up after this, and we're working on more programs with our collaborators from SCORE. Want to thank them for all the work they put into putting these things together, and also thanking our co-sponsors, the Wilton Chamber of Commerce, and of course our partners at SCORE, and the media sponsor for these programs is the Wilton Bulletin. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in cyberspace at more programs after this week. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, Michael. Yeah, we all look forward to having those live workshops again soon. Some brief information on SCORE. We have over 320 offices and 11,000 volunteers nationwide. We're part of the Small Business Administration. In SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 130 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. We offer 3 primary value-added services to small business owners. First, free one-on-one counseling, which these days is usually through Zoom meetings, telephone, or email. We present educational workshops and webinars, usually over 150 a year. And we have extensive resources on our website, including a network of subject matter experts at your disposal, as well as templates to build business plans, financial projections, and so forth. Our next webinar in this series will be next Tuesday, May 5th, Copyright Basics for Artists, Photographers, and Other Creative Types, presented by Cliff Inico. I would suggest you check out our calendar at our website for other upcoming webinars. New events are being added daily. Now, some useful information about today's event. We have set aside time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, please use the chat window at any time during the presentation. It is located in the upper part of your screen. Our webinar will end sharply at 1 o'clock to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org website within the next couple of days. Now, our speaker. Randye Spina is the owner of Affordable Marketing Solutions, LLC, a marketing consultancy with an emphasis on working with small businesses. She has served on the board of Stratford Arts Council and is a presenter for many community organizations and nonprofits. She has written a handbook on small business marketing as well. I'll now turn it over to you, Randye. Randye, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So here's the second screen that I just want to make sure that everyone sees before I dig in. Okay, so now, first I want to say thank you to everyone who signed up. I know that I have a whole lot of creative friends and family members, and sometimes this subject matter is outside of their area of expertise. So I thought that it would be very helpful to put together something that addresses those with creative minds and small budgets. So welcome, I appreciate it. So I'd like to start with talking about what is marketing. Because when I ask that question, what I usually get as a first answer is either sales or advertising. Those are techniques. Marketing is a strategic activity that encompasses everything from your logo to your pricing to where you sell to whom you sell, your name, and many, many other things, including how you answer your phone. So here I have a formula, and you'll see 60, 30, 10. 60% of your success in marketing comes from knowing who your audience is and addressing them correctly. 30% of your success comes from the offer, the copy, the verbiage, how you speak with them, how you emotionally engage them. And then 10% is things like design and layout and logo, which are very important, but not clearly as important as the other two. Now I'd like to delve into the 3 types of marketing. So there's owned, earned, and paid. Owned marketing are things like your website, your social media accounts, if you own a store, if you have a studio. Those are things that are under your direct control. In other words, you own them. You own the content and you own the platform. Earned is things like public relations, being shared and liked on social media. And the third is paid. So paid, of course, is the least attractive to those with tight budgets. Paid is advertising. Okay? Paid is anything that you do that costs you money. So you want to focus on owned and earned, and I'm going to help you do that. So the very first thing is cultivating a marketing mindset. So Buddhist saying, what has long been neglected cannot be restored immediately. Unfortunately, I get quite a lot of calls. I haven't done anything in the last 10 years and my business is sinking. What do I do? Well, again, it's not going to be restored immediately. So it is up to the business owner or the creative to best develop a marketing mindset so that you can take charge of your marketing. So what is it? Well, it means that you have put workflow processes in place to keep marketing right at the forefront of your business. This means things like maybe setting aside a half hour a day if you're doing social media, or to do some planning, or to keep a planning calendar to make sure that your mailing lists, your email lists are all up to date. So I'm going to go through some of these with you as we move along. So here I have 2 examples. I'm going to show you the not so good example first. This is something that I purchased for someone as a Valentine's Day gift a couple of years ago. And it was filled with these beautiful artisan, handmade, and very expensive and delicious chocolates. So you can see the box, the packaging is beautiful. And then I realized there's no branding on here. If I wanted to reorder the next Valentine's Day, I couldn't remember where I purchased it. It wasn't inside of the top lid either. And I know that this person had my email address. I never heard from them again. Okay, so that's a not so good example. Okay, when you have an existing customer that has purchased from you, you should keep them near and dear to your marketing heart. And here's a great example. I purchased this painting from an artist at a show, a local art fair, and it wasn't until I got home and went to hang it up that I realized that he had tucked his business card in the back. And it's still there. This is several years ago. And you can see how much better that is. So when someone comes to my home and says, wow, that's great, who's the artist? I can tell them. All I have to do is take it off the wall and there is his business card. Okay? So never waste a lead. That is the big lesson here. When somebody purchases from you or somebody inquires, okay, tether them to you. Okay, make sure that you can stay in touch with them. So you don't have to chase them all over the neighborhood or the internet. Okay, the internet's a really big place and it's very, very expensive to do that. Most of my clients over these past 13 years do not have the budget to do that. So therefore, marketing becomes an internal job. So if you look at the diagram of strategic marketing elements, this is something that I created several years ago. And you can see that the red is for acquisition, the green is for retention, and the third blue is for reactivation. So red is red on purpose because it's very expensive to acquire new leads. This is something that every new business or new artist, when you open up your shop or your website, this is something we all have to do. We all have to acquire customers first. Okay? It isn't until we have a stream of them that we can then go on to phase 2, which is retention, which is green, because here's where it gets profitable. So the example that I showed you before about the person who made those delicious chocolates, I would have definitely reordered, and maybe more than one. But that person didn't retain me, and I didn't remember who they were. It was, it was a year ago, right? By the time the next Valentine's Day came around. So an ism, if you will, in marketing is that it can cost up to 10 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to keep an existing one. And on average, it costs $28 for a small business to acquire a new customer. So if you retain them and they purchase from you a second time, you take that lead cost down to 14. Right? So you can see how retention and staying in touch with your customers and prospects who may not have been ready to purchase from you right away may still in the future. And then the final is reactivation. So reactivation is when someone has not purchased from you in a while and you want to bring them back into the fold. And there are a lot of reasons why people might go away. Maybe they moved, their life circumstances changed. But if you focus on retention and never wasting a lead, I promise you it will pay off for you. So here are some marketing mindset tips. Number 1, collect emails as often and as many as you can. With every interaction, your website, collect emails. If you are at a show or an expo or a farmer's market, or you attend, you attend an artist gathering, right? Collect emails and keep them, obviously, and use them, okay? Most likely, given this audience, you will be collecting people's personal emails, which is an advantage over collecting business emails, which change very frequently. People lose their jobs, people quit their jobs, and then it goes into, sort of cyber never land. But this audience has the advantage in that the emails that you collect will almost always be someone's personal email. The second is to call your own business phone. What does the message say? Are you giving out your website on your voicemail message, on your outgoing message? How does it sound? Does it sound friendly? Or if you have an upcoming show, are you saying, on June 1st, I'm going to be at XYZ art show, okay? Or, visit my work at XYZ gallery, okay? Make sure that your message on your business phone is a marketing tool for you. If somebody calls you, this is a good thing. It's another way to tether them to your business. The third is to use your own website, and I can't even tell you how many horror stories I have about small businesses who have spent a nice chunk of money to create a website, and it's down and they don't know it, or their links are broken and they don't know it, or there are errors on there and they don't know it. This happened just the other day. I went to a former client's website because He called me and wanted another project, and I wanted to refresh because it had been a couple of years, and I wanted to refresh because I was the one that wrote the website, and there were all kinds of problems with it. He had never even, he paid for this website, never actually used it himself, okay? Not good. I've also had a situation where somebody forgot to change the credit card on their hosting account, and I went to the website and I got a message saying that the URL was available for sale, and I called her immediately and she was shocked. Okay, it had been down for days and she didn't know it. Okay, so acting as your own customer, in other words, right, is what I'm saying here, so that you get to experience your business as somebody else will. The next is use a marketing calendar, and in a couple of slides I have an example of what that is. I also recommend that you put, an hour a week, not very much time, maybe if you can spare more, okay, to do your social media postings in the morning, for example. Or if you know you have an upcoming show, make sure that you tell all of your email list and your prospects that the show is coming up and you hope to see them there. Okay, so in other words, a planning calendar solely for marketing. Then keep your business cards everywhere, absolutely everywhere. In your car, in your portfolio, in your purse, in your wallet, wherever it might be. Okay? You never want to be caught short without business cards. And another little note about business cards is to be sure to use the back of it. Most people don't use the back of the business card, and when someone hands me one, the first thing I do is turn it over and look on the back, and most times it's blank, and that should not happen. It costs only about 20% more to print on the back, and you have 100% more space. So for example, on the back of my business card is a photo of the front cover of my book and a little blurb about my book. It's a mini billboard, if you will. Okay, so that is a great tip that most people overlook, and it's so easy to do that. The next is to create checklists. So creating a checklist of, things that you should do before a show, or, marketing holidays that are coming up. So if you are selling goods that are appropriate, let's say for Mother's Day, well, that's right around the corner, and that shouldn't be frantic. Okay? I had a client years ago, owned a retail store, and started panicking every year at the beginning of November, because most of his sales, like most of retail, come during the holiday time. And it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, Christmas is December 25th every year, and he was always frantic, okay? So that doesn't work. It's never a good thing. So creating checklists, using planning calendars, all of these things are part of a marketing mindset, because honestly, very small tweaks along the way can make a very large impact for you once you get in the swing of it and once it becomes habit. So also, if you sell from your website, order a package from, order a product. Okay, when it comes in the mail, you will have forgotten that you ordered it, and you'll be looking at it with fresh eyes. Is there a business card in the box that you sent? Do you have a follow-up email? Are you asking for testimonials? Are you making sure that, what arrives in the mail is as beautiful as what's inside? I think for creatives and for artists, that's probably very important. The next thing, big thing, of course, is websites. So the website, your website is owned, okay? So it is the basis for all of your marketing that you will do. In today's world, you absolutely have to have a website. First thing anybody is going to ask is, can I order from your website? Or what is your website? So make sure that you have some of these must-haves. Your personal story or an artist bio, even a video. Video is so important today. So make sure that you can do this on your phone and upload, you know, a 1-minute video. Every single website platform, from free to very expensive, can handle video. And art and creations are very emotional. People like to understand the artist's story and how you got into this medium. Maybe you're a painter, or maybe you're a writer, maybe you're a graphic designer, whatever it might be. People want to know about the artist's lifestyle. There's something very curious about that lifestyle that most of us can't relate to. So tell us your story. The second is portfolio, which of course, Cliff will talk about that next week, but be very careful about your, you know, intellectual property. You want to have things watermarked and very low resolution or very small pictures, but you should have a portfolio of some kind. I had a call with a videographer and a photographer yesterday, going over his website with him that he created, but that I was helping him create. And his portfolio was beautiful. It was beautiful work. And he had things, he does portraiture, so he doesn't really have to worry about making, you know, watermarks or protecting his intellectual property. Nobody knows who these people are, but his portfolio was extensive and beautiful and showed a range of his work. Black and white photography, some video, some product photography. So he did all of that really, really well, and that will serve him well. And then the next thing is calendar of events or shows, whatever you are have coming up. So if you're going to be exhibiting at, even if it's a farmer's market, if you're going to be exhibiting at an event, you know, have a calendar and make sure that you have a link for people, just like this was. There was a link for registration. So if registration is required or people have to buy tickets, that they know how to do it. And also, this is content for any social media that you might be doing. This is content for email marketing that you may be doing. And then, of course, contact form. How can people get in touch with you? Do you just sell product as is? Do you do custom work? You know, people are going to want to get in touch with you and ask you these questions. They're going to want to ask you about pricing. Be careful about pricing on your website. Not a big fan of that for artists. I think unless you're selling, you know, greeting cards, okay? So a package of 10 is, you know, $25 or something like that. But be careful about pricing. But you do want to have contact form, absolutely, some way for them to get in touch with you. You also, of course, want to be able to link to any social media accounts and make sure that on your social media accounts, you link back to your website. And as I said before, email capture, and then any purchase or shipping information, even if you are not shipping it yourself, if it's coming from a third party, let's say. I know somebody who creates their own line of skincare, and when you purchase, it's actually shipped from the manufacturer where they do all the essential oils and they do the blending and the fragrance and all of that. So just make sure that you have all that on your website so somebody knows how long to wait and where it's coming from, et cetera, et cetera. If you can, give them a tracking number as well. That's always very helpful, okay? And then, of course, you would want to link to any other purchasing platforms, such as Etsy or Zazzle or wherever else, you know, you may be selling your work. So that if your website is not an e-commerce website and does not have that functionality, and or you are restricted in other ways, and there are many reasons why that would happen, that you can point people to where they can purchase your work. Now I want to talk a little bit about social media. Everybody says, well, it's free. Well, it might be free money, but it is not free time. About 10 years ago, it was so much easier to get the word out and sell via social media. It is so much more difficult today because everybody is trying to do it. And many of the mistakes that were done way back when are still happening. And I did them as well. I have, a YouTube, a Twitter, a Facebook, a LinkedIn, a personal LinkedIn, a business LinkedIn, a personal Facebook, a business Facebook. And now, of course, there's Instagram and there's Snapchat and there's TikTok. I mean, you could go nuts with all of this stuff. My very best advice, if you've done all that already, that's fine, but then just pick one, maybe two to concentrate on. There are companies that publish, best practices and white papers. I have a list of resources at the end of this presentation, but if you'd like to jot it down now, two that I use are HubSpot.com, and the other one is Hootsuite.com. And you can sign up for their free emails. You can download best practices, really learn how to use one, again, maybe two social media. Get them down, get them right if you're going to use them, and then you can move on to others if necessary. But don't try to spread yourself too thin, and then the next thing you know, you go down this 4-hour rabbit hole, and you're trying to figure out how to post on TikTok or how to upload a video. Okay, so just time is valuable. Time is money. Okay, and again, based on the 60-30-10 formula, you want to pick the social media platforms where your customers have the best chance of being. So who are they? Are they young? Are they old? Are they male? Are they female? Is Pinterest better for you than Instagram? Is Facebook better? This is all the stuff that those companies can help you with and help you make decisions about where the best place is to post. And also have a look at what your competition is doing. They may not be doing the same exact creative art that you are, but they're there. I'm pretty sure that they're on all the social media platforms. So you can see what they're doing and how it's working for them. You also want to make sure you have a signature block on your own email, and you want to have a link to any social media accounts that you have so people can get exposure and click from your email. Okay, and of course, be careful about your copyrighted work. It's wonderful to show off how beautiful your photography or your painting is, or the latest logo that you designed if you're a graphic designer. But be very careful. Low resolution photos, make sure they're watermarked. You can Google how to watermark if you don't know how to do it. So it's best that you protect yourself, but it's a fine balance between being out there, having a presence, and then, of course, not allowing others to steal your work. That has actually happened to me. Someone has stolen pages from my website and just plopped them down in their own website. And you don't want to have that happen to you. That was not a good experience, okay? And then lastly, if you are on social media, be an active participant and engage with others. If somebody shares your post, like people have been doing with mine leading up to today, I always say thank you. I always comment and share others. I mean, it's called social media for a reason. It isn't just a one way where you post and then forget about it. You don't want to do that. That leaves a bad taste in people's, minds, and you don't want to lose people because you aren't engaging with them. And here's an example of a marketing calendar. This can be used for any number of things. And this is actually from HubSpot, as you can see. So this is actually a very fancy Excel spreadsheet that's color-coded. Looks pretty, so I put it up here as a sample. You can just use a plain paper calendar as well. Okay, so next week is, or whenever Mother's Day is, in a couple of weeks, Okay, if this was the month of April, then third week of April, you probably want to be starting to talk about Mother's Day, maybe using the correct hashtags. Okay, and then the next month would be May, and then leading up to it, and then, you know, if people are ordering product, and can they return it, can they, you know, all the things that make people comfortable purchasing from you. The next is centers of influence, and this is a phrase that I've been using for quite a while, and it actually works well for me and has worked for me for many, many years. And these are people and or organizations that can open doors for you that you cannot open for yourself. For example, a gallery can open doors for artists that you can't open yourself. People that visit that gallery, you can't get to them individually, but you would be able to get to them through the gallery if they have a show for your work, for example. So centers of influence can be also an online organization. It can be an artist, you know, collective. There are so many artist groups on Facebook, for example. So, and people, okay, maybe, you know, I don't know, my center of influence for many, many years has actually been Cliff Enico. So if you were on the, you know, this last week or going to be on it next week, I've known Cliff since day one that I've opened my business, and he actually made this introduction for me. So this is my second workshop that I'm doing for SCORE as part of this, you know, artist collaborative workshop series. So people and organizations who have access, in other words, to places that you on your own don't, or would have to spend years to create and spend a lot of time and a lot of money. And then here are some ideas for you for additional sales channels and perhaps additional products. So Etsy and Zazzle are the two most known where you can sell your goods. And yes, I know they take a fee, but as they say on Shark Tank, right? 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So if you want to expand your reach, then Etsy and Zazzle are also centers of influence for you. Okay, their websites get millions of hits, millions a week, maybe even a day. I don't know, haven't looked at the numbers recently, but they clearly have the marketing engine that individuals don't. So that's, and there are others, but those are the two most famous. If you are a writer or a graphic artist of some kind, maybe consider an additional product line, like holiday cards, birthday cards, bookmarks. I have not done a scientific study about this, but in my opinion, everyone who I know who is an artist or a creative of some kind is also an avid, voracious reader. Bookmarks are inexpensive. You can mail them, you can write on them, you can design them. They have two sides. They're bigger than a business card. Some people use bookmarks instead of a business card. It is a useful thing that somebody can have in their hands and say, oh, wow, right. I should go to their website again and have a look at their new work. Okay, so those are some examples of additional product lines. I saw something on Facebook recently, an artist, and I don't remember what platform she sells on, but they have turned her art into art for masks. Oh no, okay. So you never know, okay? An online course is another additional sales channel for you. There is a platform called teachable.com, and it is it's a place where you create courses and they sell them for you. Okay, so when I was doing some training on Teachable, I found out that one of their more successful courses is a watercolor course created by an artist. And the last I heard, she was selling about $8,000 a month in course fees. So you create the course once, you put it online, and then it's just there. And of course, since she has created other types of watercolor classes. So if you're a writer, maybe you want to write a book or give lectures or go to a retail consignment store in your neighborhood. I have somebody who is an author, and he writes books about, he's also a scuba diver, and he writes books about novels with love stories woven in about, people who meet on scuba trips and that kind of stuff. And he went to a couple of local scuba diving stores where they sell equipment and put his books for retail consignment. And they're selling because 60% scuba people are the audience, and they bought the books, sold out actually. Okay, so gift cards is another additional sales channel or product. Maybe you don't know what to get somebody. You don't want to pick out art that you don't know if they would like. So you buy a gift card, and then you have, you sell them on your website, and then the person can choose whatever they want. And then of course, events, shows, expos, farmers markets, and all that good stuff. So now, how much does all this cost? Okay, so I firmly believe, of course, that marketing is an investment. It's not an expense. So here are some typical things that you might want to consider creating a budget for. So a URL is your website name, and you can see how much these things cost, right? Hosting, creating a website. I don't have a price there because it can be wildly variant depending upon if you do it yourself or you have someone do it for you. Giveaways, maybe you use bookmarks as giveaways, as events, for example. Email marketing, some are free, some are, $10 or $15 a month. No better ROI or return on investment than email marketing. And then of course, business cards, because you should always have at least 500 on hand. And then here's a list of resources. I'm not going to spend time going through all of them. You can look them up yourself. But I just want to point out two things. Squarespace and Wix are DIY, right, do-it-yourself website platforms that you can create your own website. And of course, Hootsuite and HubSpot, as I mentioned before, are on there. And PR.com is publicrelations.com, just so you know. Okay. And some wise final words about marketing. Okay, those who stop marketing to save money are like those who stop a clock to save time. It just doesn't happen. And I can tell you that, given the current economic environment, I have been through this. I've been in business for 13 years. I went through the insanity of 2008 and 2009, and I know for a fact that businesses that did marketing then survived. Businesses that didn't likely did not survive. The clients I worked with years ago are still around, and marketing is the best investment and the only way that you will ever be able to bring any money into your business. So thank you everyone for your time, for spending these 40 minutes with me. I very much appreciate it. I hope I was helpful to you. And I'd love to stay in touch. You can visit my website at myaffordablemarketing.com or send me an email if you have a specific question. It's myaffordablemarketing@gmail.com. And thank you again for your time. And I'm going to turn it back over to the guys at SCORE.
Thanks, Randy. We'll now use our remaining time for questions and answers. We will take as many as possible up to 1 o'clock, so please submit them via the chat feature in the lower portion of your screen. Those are, so the first question that we have, it was about business cards, and the person's writing, I thought business cards were passé. It's the website that is the business card these days, correct? True or not, and what do you think about that?
Well, I say not. I say you need both. When you meet someone, out, you are, they're not going to remember your website, right? Business card, 500 business cards can cost as little as $20. There is no risk to having business cards.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If I walk up to an artist, I'm going to ask them for their business card. Younger people may whip out their phone and just type in your name and address and phone number, I guess, but business cards still have an impact.
Yes.
Question, regarding prices on websites, putting prices on websites, if you don't put prices of paintings on website, isn't there an extra hurdle in the customer? It has to go through, they have to contact you, then find out what the price is. I guess, do you have any data that tells you which one is better?
So I think if you're selling a commodity kind of creative, like I said, you know, greeting cards, for example, then of course you want to put the prices on there. I have found most artists' websites that I have visited don't have pricing. You can give a range. You can say maybe available, you know, in small, medium, large sizes or something like that. Maybe give a range. But, you know, art is rarely an economic purchase. Art is an emotional purchase. If somebody loves your work, then, you know, they love your work. They want it. I mean, it's, you can try putting prices on it, but I have never found that with clients that I've worked with that it has made a big difference. And if you're selling on Etsy, Zazzle, et cetera, they're going to have prices because they have to. They are an e-commerce platform.
Right. Okay. Next question. Someone is writing, what sites do people sell their online recorded courses on? Is there a certain website people go to?
Well, there are several. Teachable is one of them. Like I said, teachable.com. There are also, there's Coursera.com, there's Udemy.com. There are so many right now that, you know, you'd have to do the research to find out which platform is best for you. They all take a cut, of course. They're not, you know, they're not in the business to do all that work and all of that technical support for nothing. So they do take and it varies, they take a percentage. But there are many out there now. Teachable is probably what the easiest to use, and it's one of the more popular ones.
Right, right. There's another question here. I've heard that collecting emails can be problematic in some cases. You have to consider, you don't want to be considered junk mail or spam mail, and I guess some of the services like Constant Contact or MailChimp may have requirements for people opting in. Do you find that's an issue at all?
I don't. Here's what I do. First of all, there is an email newsletter sign up form on my website. So that is the legal permission that I need, that the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, requires that we get to use people's emails. Also, when I do workshops, like I did this one in September at different library, I have a sign-up sheet and I keep them. I have them way back, I don't even know, 12 years, okay? And they're on paper. You sign up, you write your name, your email, and that's my permission that you, that I have your legal permission to email you. And people can always opt out. I wouldn't just willy-nilly add emails to them because yes, they will shut you down. And I have had clients where that has happened.
Okay, great, thanks. Next question is, I make jewelry, so if I make a website, should I put my prices on the pictures of my jewelry and how many items are of that specific item, I guess? How many items of that specific item?
So for jewelry, yeah, I probably would. If it is custom jewelry that is made with fine gemstones, you might want to give a range based on size. But if it is, you know, fun, wearable jewelry that a lot of people are going to buy, then sure, you want to have your, because that in my mind is a bit more commodity based than, you know, a giant oil painting. And then for the second half of that question, I'm not sure I understand what exactly they're asking. If you're selling jewelry, or no, let's say earrings that can come in blue or green, do you want to show both? Yeah, probably.
Right. Okay. Next question is there something like Zillow for selling creative works? And then when I need to rent a house, Zillow audiences reaches hundreds and they get so many responding. I would love a Zillow way to show and sell my art. Is there such a thing for art?
Yes, Etsy and Zazzle are two of them. And there are others as well, but those are the two most popular.
Great. Let's see. Several comments on the business cards. And let's see. One request for the name of your book. What is the name of the book? How do they get a hold of it?
It's actually called Affordable Marketing Solutions. And there's a link to the digital version now, that you can purchase from Amazon, and that's on my website.
Okay. And there's a couple of different requests for web addresses and things that were included in the presentation. I would just say in a couple of days, this whole presentation is going to be on the website. You'll be able to view it for as many times as you want and pull out the web addresses on those.
Right, and they're all on the resources slide.
Right. Right. And I think that's it for the questions, actually. So I think that's where we'll close it out. As a reminder, recording this webinar and the materials are available within a couple of days on the fairfieldcounty.score.org website. Please check out our website for upcoming webinars. Again, SCORE offers free individual counseling, so please use the link on the screen or visit our website and click Request a Mentor. Also, please fill out your evaluations that have been sent at the end of this webinar. On behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank you for attending today's SCORE live webinar. In closing, a big thank you to Randye Spina for presenting today. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.